Alright, now we're going to trim it up and do our water pump. Well, I got it down like this. I'm going to go ahead and pull this cap out of here. This is the access to the bolt that holds the trim anode on, and the trim anode covers one of the bolts that goes into the lower unit to hold it on. It's a 14 millimeter bolt, but you got to get to it through here. So once you get through here, you can get to the 12 millimeter bolt that holds the trim anode on, and then behind that will be the 14 millimeter bolt that holds it on. And take this, and there's our trim anode, and now we can go ahead and trim it up. So these bolts here, I can't really hit them with an impact because of the cavitation plate in the way, so I get these with an open end wrench, 14 millimeters. Well, all 6 of these are 14 millimeter. There's 3 on each side, and then 1 underneath here that hold this gear case on. There's also most likely going to be a water speed tube in the back of this for the speedometer, and you're probably going to need to disconnect that as well so you don't rip it off when you get the lower unit down. Okay. Yeah, these bolts don't seem very greased up, so they will be greased up on the way back in though. They actually are greased up. It's got my favorite grease on them. This is the Mercury 101 grease. They discontinued it a few years back, but this was the best grease ever. Really wish they still made it. I still use the Mercury grease, but it's 24C now. It's a different grease, and you can see the difference clearly. Still a good grease, but I really like that green 101 Mercury. It came in the same tube, just said 101. There's possibilities you could still find it online somewhere, but it's not common. It definitely ain't readily available everywhere. These middle ones, you can usually snake a swivel in there and get them out, but I like to break them free so I'm not fighting that. So you guys have an idea of how to get this off of here, so I think I'm going to speed up the video a little bit, and I'll get back to you when I go to pull my water tube off. So right here on the inside, you see we got our water pressure tube right there. That's what I was talking about. Some of them will be connected up here where you can disconnect it here. Some of them are connected here. Be real careful not to break that plastic piece off. So what I'm going to do here is snip my zip tie. Okay. And then I'm going to get my little torch, kind of heat it up a bit. I want to catch it on fire, just heat it up. And that'll help it to expand so that you can pull it off. There we go, very good. All right. Whew, heavy gear case at the end of the day. Okay, you got 4 12 millimeter bolts on there holding the housing down. And there's 3 different ways you can change this water pump. You can either reuse all of this housing and the wear plates and the wear cup, seals, and you can go ahead and just do an impeller in it. If you pull this apart and you find everything's in really nice shape and that's what you want to do, then you know, that's up to you. I like to almost always at least put a kit in here And if we can reuse the housing, great. They are reusable as long as they're not melted down or any problems. As soon as I look at this one, I can see that it has been melted down and a piece of it's missing right here. So I think I made a really good call on picking up a housing in advance, and I may go ahead and do housings on every job now. And when you get a housing, and the part number for this housing for this engine is a 61A-44311-01. It's a Yamaha factory part, and this is what the housing will look like. It's bare. So what you don't have, of course, are your seals and your wear cup, but that comes in your water pump repair kit. These grommets up here, both this top guide grommet holds the water grommet down and guides the water tube in. This one will need to be switched to your new housing, and then I'll show you in a second the most important one that a lot of people will miss during this process. Okay, so to get this taken apart, there's push pins on each side. You're going to push them lightly with a small screwdriver and start to pop it up. So this will pop out, and this will pop into the new one. A lot of people go ahead and pop it right in, and they forget this rubber grommet on the inside. And then the outboard overheats, and they're uncertain why, because everything's new. This grommet is very important. So you're going to want to take the grommet out of the old housing, slide it down into the new. Then you're going to want to take your cap and put it back on the same way, where the grooves line up with the pinholes. There we go. So that part is assembled. Now on top of this water pump housing, you'll notice a sleeve and another plastic sleeve and some washers. Well, for me to get this off, you don't want to pry here, pry there. You can, it will work, but I like to use a 90-degree pair of needle nose and just get them lightly underneath the lip of that. And then I'll come back here and just kind of tap. And it usually works. Can be a pain too, but nothing gets damaged and it comes up. So there we go. The ring is up now. Underneath it, the next one is going to be a plastic bushing here, and then below that are going to be three washers. One of them is a wobble or a wave washer, we call it, and then the other two are flat washers. And the order that they go back in is flat washer, wave washer, flat washer, and they must be put back in. So don't lose them. They're pretty important. So see, one washer is a wave washer, and these two are flat. So it goes flat, wave, flat, in that order. Next thing we're going to do is get our impeller off of here. Get the impeller off here. You can stick a flathead under there and use this guide pin as a little leverage. Slide it up. Impeller wasn't trash, but definitely time for a new one. Now we're going to pop our wear plate up. So to get this off of here, we're going to have to pop out our keyway right here. And I usually like to get a flat blade chisel, but nothing super sharp so I don't cut it, but enough to get in there and kind of jolt it out. There we go. Man. Woo! All right. Let's get our wear plate off of here. Underneath here, this is actually stuck to this. You'll notice right on top of the housing here, this is your drive shaft, this is your drive shaft seals. This seals water from going into the gear case and oil from coming out. So right along here, this is a water seal that sits on top of there to keep you know, gas and different things that may travel down the drive shaft or water. It's primarily to protect this seal right here. And what happens is corrosion will build up along the edges, and it'll lift and raise this up into that wear plate where the water pump sits, and it'll kind of distort it and actually make your engine overheat. So this is another thing that people miss a lot of times, is they put it all together, say everything's new, I'm still overheating. Well, you got to make sure when you come in here that this is good and clean and all the corrosion's out the best you can, so that that seal sits pretty flat. It's not going to sit down in there perfect, but you definitely don't want it to be sticking up real hard. Okay. And our air. Okay, that's pretty good. Look at your washer as well, make sure it ain't full of corrosion. This one's pretty good and clean. And I'm going to set that down. So that's sitting pretty flush now. Like I said, you'll notice that it does stick up a bit, and that's not unnormal, but you don't want it sitting up here. So that's in. Now we're going to open our water pump kit. It comes with all the goodies. Alright, we got brand new bolts. We got the O-ring for the housing, and there should be other O-rings in here. There's our keyway, there's our inside housing for the wear cup, there's the outside ring. Here's our water pump impeller. Here's our wear cup for inside of the housing. And these are our gaskets and our wear plate. 2 more bolts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our small gasket that goes on the inside of this housing. Put the O-ring down into the center groove. Then you're going to set your housing. It's got little nubs on it, and they're going to drop down in here. This lip on this will be right in this area here. So you set them down. Then you can get your big O-ring. This is your seal for the outside of the water pump housing. And this one, it's not super tricky, but one thing that's very important that you remember while you're putting this seal in, put some grease on it, start to set it in its grooves and lightly press it. Now if you start sliding your hand around here real fast, this metal cup will cut you. So that's the important part right there. Use caution. Press it nice and lightly, and there's little tabs in there that will help to hold it in place as well. So now I've got my housing together, put a little grease inside of here so that first start and for assembly I've got plenty of lube in there. Alright, now we're going to do our wear plate. Got our wear plate. You'll notice one side you can feel these nubs, it protrudes out, and that you want to be down. You don't want that to be up and rip the impeller up. This kit also comes with new guide pins. A lot of times I don't put them in. I usually don't need them unless the guide pins are missing or destroyed. They're generally pretty fair. I do grease them though. You can change them if you want to. The kit does come with it, but I don't really find it necessary. Okay, so our gasket now, it's going to go down. Make sure you get the right orientation. It can go on 2 different ways, but it can be wrong. When it's right, it'll line up with the guide pins, and you'll see all 4 of the bolt holes there. Now this plate, when you're setting it down, you're going to want this rough side down, and you're going to want this round nub towards the front where this rubber seal is for the exhaust housing. Place that down, drop it in position. Now we got to get that fancy keyway back in. Okay, so in this kit they will give you a brand new keyway, and you're going to want to set that pin. For me, I like to put a little grease on the opening that the keyway sits in. 1, it helps it to come out in the future, and 2, it holds it in place while I install it, and that's important. Just like that, you're going to tap it in position. And put a little bit of grease on my drive shaft. I'll grease it up a little more later. This is going to help during the impeller install, and it's helping to pre-grease my assembly. So We'll take our brand new impeller and you'll look inside and you'll see the notch for the keyway. One side it's exposed, the other side is not. You're going to put the exposed side down so it slides over the keyway. Get an idea where it's at by holding onto the blade and bringing it straight down best you can. And once you get down here, you may have to move it a little bit to line it up with the keyway. And we're on. Press it down to the bottom. So now our impeller's in place. Now we're going to take our housing and start to set it. Oh, almost forgot. Don't do this at home. Okay, so before you set your housing down, we're going to put our washers back on. It goes flat, wavy, flat. So the first thing that go on, and they go on right on top of the impeller. If you'll notice in the drive shaft, it curves a little bit right here, and that's where all this assembly goes. These washers space out that assembly up to the curve, and then you're going to put your plastic bushing down there, which will drop into that groove, and then you've got your metal ring. It's going to go on top. Okay, to set that metal ring down, I use a 7/8 open-end wrench. It fits right over the drive shaft, drops down, and bring it home. Oh, there we go, we're back on. Now we're going to put our housing on. Ensure that you've got your rubber grommet on the inside, your cap on the outside, your O-ring on the inside, your wear cup pushed in to correct position, and make sure your O-ring is in place. Now we're going to bring this down. We're going to turn the drive shaft clockwise to set the impeller. Once the impeller is about halfway set and you see it's going down, take a look underneath there and make sure that your O-ring and everything is still in position and nothing's popped out of place. When you're sure it is, go ahead and run it down. That's down. Now almost always I use the brand new bolts that come with the kit. It's just a habit and I like doing it. But today these bolts are in great shape, and I absolutely love Mercury 101 grease, and this grease will still be tacky like this probably 10 years from now. So I'm going to go ahead and reuse these bolts because one, there's really nothing wrong with them, and two, I can't replace this grease anymore, and it's definitely better than what they sell today. Super wish they still sold this. Not sure if they make anything comparable. I mean, most all of this grease does a pretty good job, but 101 grease was the best. And you can see it's been a few years. That grease looks brand new. We're going to lightly run it down. Not going to run it too tight. Just kind of save some time. Run it down. And grab a ratchet wrench and just snug them up. Don't need to be that tight, just a good snug to them. Okay. You want to grab a hold of your drive shaft and turn it clockwise and make sure that we're not binding, and this one turns beautifully. So I feel good about this. I'm going to re-grease our drive shaft. Plenty of grease on the drive shaft splines. Plenty of grease on the shift shaft splines. Grease your alignment pins in the gear case. Going to grease our bolts for the gear case itself, which I'm probably not going to add much because they're already full of 101 grease, which is awesome. So these are our bolts. I'm going to add a little extra. You can never have too much grease. And it's okay to mix different types of grease. I can look on here and see 101. It looks like some Yamaha grease in the bottom. And here's some more Merc grease for them. At the end of the day, you want them good and greasy so they come out later and everybody's happy and things go well. Okay, so our bolts are greased up. And I'm going to have one handy, and I'm going to get the swivel socket back on my ratchet because these gear cases are pretty heavy. So once I get this gear case up there and lined up, I'd like to reach back here and grab my tool and zap a bolt in so I can stop fighting it and it'll hold itself up. We also got to get our water tube back in. It should probably still go on pretty well. We'll find out. I need to keep my my torch handy in case it doesn't. And I need a zip tie so that I can zip tie this while I'm up there. because this is a little easier with 2 people, but there's only 1 person here. All right, come on, Mr. Gear Case, let's go home. There we go. That should be enough to get my water tube back on. All right, come on, speedometer cable. Now this is the hard part, is zip tying it with holding the gear case up. So get somebody to help you if you can, or if this is too difficult for you, because it is pretty hard to do. I just unfortunately have done quite a few of these and sort of gotten used to it. Okay. Now we're gonna bring our gear case up, line up our water tube. Should line up pretty good. We're gonna see our shift shaft is right there. We need to lift up a little on it, make sure it's gonna go into the splines, and give it a couple slight twists, and the gear case should pop into place. Okay. Now we'll get a bolt to hold it up there. So that we can take a breather and recalculate. Okay. We don't need to run it all the way down yet. We don't want to put a bind on the gear case. We want everything to still line up every place else. So our next one's going to be down here, or up here in the prop area. Alright, so it's on its guide pins, and those are holding me up right now. Now it's all just reassembling the bolts. Alright, gear case is bolted back on. There it is. It's only a 20-foot boat, but it's still huge. Let's get a pull forward. Good enough. And fire it up. Ball in here. Evian. It's my favorite water. Okay, so we got primer ball down here. So he's got a fuel flow meter as well hooked up. See my filter taking in fuel now. Let's make sure our fuel filter doesn't leak that we took off. Yeah, this doesn't leak out of the carbs or anywhere, and we're primed up. That's what we should do. All right. The shift. Okay. All right. Forward. Neutral. Reverse. Very good. We got no leaks. We got a ton of piss pressure. See how she sounds. Yep, sounds good. Running pretty cool. Are even? All right. Perfect. Very good, man. This thing runs fantastic. All right. And my buddy can go back to diving. I've always wanted to try diving, but I'm kind of afraid, to be honest. I don't like to get out of a good floating boat if I don't have to. And I'll swim around in there, but I don't know about air tanks and going low. It's kind of freaky to me. I bet it's awesome though. Good to go, man. Let's turn our water off, clean up this crap, put our tools away. All right, that concludes our video. Looks like we win. If you guys like these kind of videos and like to watch outboard repair videos or have any questions, please check out my channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe. New channel, still growing. Thank you guys so much and have a great day.